Welcome to Storytimer. Denise Diane Pflum, 1986, Connersville. Denise Diane Pflum was born January 14th of 1968 in Connersville, Indiana. She grew up there in the small town and attended the local schools. It was a nice, quiet, small town existence. March 28th, 1986 was Good Friday. Easter was coming up. It was also spring break. High school senior Denise Diane Pflum had recently broken up with her boyfriend, but she was feeling upbeat and optimistic about the future. She was headed to Miami University in Ohio that fall. That's an exciting time in a young person's life. There's so much to look forward to. Denise was the oldest child in her family. Oldest daughters are usually very responsible, and that was true for Denise as well. Denise had been to a big bonfire party in a field the night before with other classmates and friends. It was a huge party with several hundred teens said to be in attendance. She realized in the morning that she had left her purse there in the field where the party had been. She would need to go looking for it. None of her friends were available to go along with her, so she went alone that afternoon. She left the house around 12:30 p.m. Someone later reported seeing her at a clothing store that afternoon around 2 p.m. She must have stopped off there before heading out to search the field. Perhaps she had run other errands as well before the clothing store and then heading to the field. She had on a red Motley Crue t-shirt, striped jeans, her silver class ring with a red stone, and a gold ring also with a red stone. Despite being a very responsible young woman, Denise did not come home that day. Her family began calling her friends. They began searching for her. I'm sure at first they just thought she was with a friend and had lost track of time. It was a nice day at the tail end of spring break after all. Her car was found by a local farmer just about 3 miles from the party field. It was locked. There was no sign of a struggle near the car there in the Glenwood area west of Connersville. Police and others in the community floated the idea that she might have run away, but they also mounted a very intense search by air and on foot of the surrounding fields and woods. Her family began hoping that she had run away as time went on. Shawn McClung had been her boyfriend. He was 4 years older than Denise. The two had broken up shortly before her disappearance. He told police that he thought she was alive. He moved to Arizona shortly after being questioned and released. That may not mean anything. Maybe he already had plans to move. Maybe being looked at as a suspect was too difficult to bear. Small towns can be hard places to live when rumors start flying. Easter came and went. Weeks went by. Her 1986 class graduated without her. Her friends went off to college. They went on with their lives. They got married and had children. It's only right to move on. We simply have to keep going. Shawn McClung married Christy Rundle in 1990 in Whitehall in Owen County, Indiana. Whitehall is a very rural area east of Bloomington, Indiana. What was their marriage like, I wonder? Denise Pflum's family eventually had her declared dead. She has a tribute page on Find a Grave. I can't imagine how difficult that must have been. Her date of death is listed as March 28, 1986. So many people have left tributes and memorials there. She had a lot of friends. Her memory is treasured by many. Denise Pflum's body has never been found. In 2016, Shawn McClung returned to Fayette County, Indiana. He found himself in jail for an alleged financial crime. He was questioned about Denise. No charges were brought against him, but supposedly he confessed to killing her. He did not say where her remains could be found. In conversations with his lawyer, he denied killing Denise. He was terminally ill at the time and passed away in 2020. He certainly seems to be the most likely suspect. A woman's life is in the most danger when she is either pregnant or when she is leaving a relationship. We may never know if Shawn McClung killed Denise. Perhaps one day her remains will be found. Perhaps new evidence will come to light. If you read this blog regularly, you may be wondering why Connersville sounds familiar. 5 years earlier, in 1981, another young woman was murdered. Darlene Russell was 21 when her throat was cut and she was dumped on the side of the Fayette County Line Road northwest of Connersville. Investigators thought someone had attempted to sexually assault her. Some of her clothes had been hanging off a barbed wire fence. Those clothes caught the eye of a passerby who stopped and took a closer look. That's how her body was discovered. Darlene had been out with friends that night. They had been having a few drinks together. She had announced plans to go see relatives in Kentucky just before her murder. She told her mother that she was getting a ride and would call her later from her relative's home. I wonder if Denise knew Darlene Russell or had heard about their murder back in 1981. It's only 5 years earlier. I imagine that she had to have heard about the murder. Connersville is a small town. What I really wonder is if a 17-year-old Shawn McClung knew Darlene Russell in 1981. Did he have a car? Was he the person who offered to drive her to her family in Kentucky? Was he the person who attempted to rape her and then cut her throat there on the side of the road when she fought back? It's hard to imagine a 17-year-old boy in rural Indiana carrying a knife. It's not hard to imagine a 17-year-old boy in rural Indiana in those days carrying a knife. It is hard to imagine a 21-year-old woman who would have been comfortable letting a younger 17-year-old driver take her that far. A 17-year-old is not a terribly experienced driver, but anything is possible, though. If I were looking for the remains of Denise Pflum, I might look along the road where Darlene was found. Not everyone who kills will kill again. An impulsive person, though, who makes bad decisions, might have a pattern of making terribly impulsive decisions, though. And it is still a very isolated rural road. It's not too awfully far from where Denise's car was found. It's not terribly close, but it's not far. If Shawn McClung had anything to do with the death of Darlene Russell, then he would know that area and possibly feel comfortable going there to dispose of a body. This time, he would not let the body be so easily discovered. If any evidence in Darlene Russell's case is still available for DNA testing, it would be very interesting to test it. Could Shawn McClung be involved in this case as well? Spring is mushroom hunting season in rural Indiana, and fall is deer season. Perhaps one day someone will happen upon the remains of Denise Pflum. Sometimes people with information come forward. Sometimes, after many years, people simply want to right a wrong. Maybe some kind soul will come forward someday. If you have information about the disappearance of Denise Diane Pflum, please call the Fayette County Sheriff's Department at 765-825-0535. If you have information about the murder of Darlene, call the Fayette County Sheriff's Department at 765-825-0535. These young ladies deserve justice. They deserved to have long lives. That was taken away from them, but perhaps we can give them some justice, even though it's many decades later.